Most of you should already know this, but the United States economy runs off of debt. And I'm not talking about the Federal Reserve and the federal government. I'm talking about you and me. The entire economy is based on revolving credit. This is why they have to keep printing money. If you do not know this, I want you to sit and think for a second. Think about all of your money problems, money issues, anything surrounding money. Let's think about divorce. Why is divorce so rampant? The government incentivizes women to get a divorce. In the schools, they train girls to give up at the drop of a hat. So for all of these women who talk about they're a strong, independent woman, they're not. They're absolutely not. They are the opposite of strong and independent. They're neither strong, nor are they independent. Even the ones who literally say, we've grown apart. I've grown and you haven't. They get a divorce, and then 6 months later they start making TikTok videos crying about how they messed up and how it's so lonely and how their man that they said could not ever get anybody else is completely remarried with a baby on the way. Why would they incentivize women? What do you do when you're married? And by the way, society is actually based on married couples. It's not based on anything else. The success of a nation is based on its married couples. That's it. So then this whole upheaval about divorce, which is only 40 years old, something like that? When did no-fault divorce really come into play, as in all the states actually adopted it? I think it's only been 40 years. You could literally travel to another state and say, this is not a no-fault divorce state, so you have to stay here and work out whatever you're going to work out. And if you try and divorce me, I'm going to bring up the fact that you slept with the entire football team and you're going to get nothing. So we've only been dealing with 40 years of this. What does that mean? That means that the impact of destabilizing the economy is only 40 years old. The country is 200, I want to say 30, 40, I don't know how old the country is. They keep changing what the actual... No, it was not the Declaration of Independence. It's actually when the first Continental Congress came together. So it's over 200 years. I think we've had establishing a solid foundation for 200 years, and they're trying to destabilize it, and it's only been 40 years. There's still a whole section of the country, the flyover states, where people still get married and stay married, basically. All the small towns, all the places where women don't have options. And that's the only thing that you can really say. Men have options. We just don't use our options. Everybody wants to pretend like a man literally can't take his bags and go somewhere else. Every man can. We just don't. This is why we stay in toxic relationships too. Because it's just such a pain in the butt to pick up your bags and just leave. And admit that you made a mistake by putting all of this energy into this toxic woman. More often than not, your fellow men friends are going to ridicule you for even being with such a toxic person, a toxic woman. There is no hugs and kisses from men in any situation. But let's get back to the economy. Why is divorce so rampant? Because what is the nature of married people? Married people stabilize the economy. What's some of the financial things that stable financial people do? They buy cars. They buy houses. They rent stuff. They buy big ticket items like refrigerators, washers and dryers. And what do you do with that? And they renovate their houses. And how do you finance that? Do you plop down cash for all of that? No, you do not. You take out loans for the car, loans for the houses, loans for the renovation, loans for the big ticket items. You roll that up into the mortgage and consolidate the loans all into the mortgage. You get divorced and you don't know what I know, and you haven't bought my book about how to get divorced and not get completely done, and to reverse the clock on divorce 100%. You haven't bought it, it's on my Patreon. But you got taken to the cleaners. She got the car. She got the house. She got the renovation. Oh, but wait. She doesn't know how to run a house. She doesn't know how to first of all, she doesn't know how to take care of the car. And half the time she's going to forget to even pay the car note. She doesn't know how to take care of the home. And so she's going to be broke and trying to pay somebody to fix stuff. That's another industry already set to go to rescue women who have money but need to fix their financial life. There's a whole industry for it. But then there's the women who literally can't rub two pennies together, even with alimony, even with child support, and they end up homeless and broke, and they have to sell everything, and you get none of that. There's a whole industry of it. And then you have to go and buy a brand new house and car and take out loans for the car, take out loans for the house. And let me finish with this. If every American paid off all of their debts tomorrow, the day after that, the U.S. economy would collapse, and probably the entire world. That's how serious this is. That's how devastating it is that we control everything. And it's not the petrodollar. It is the U.S. economy and the U.S. consumer or the U.S. citizen. I don't want to call you consumers because you're not. You should be way more than just a consumer. And we should bring it to the attention of everyone that our society functions on the backs of married couples. Everything that they do, every purchase that they make, they create entire neighborhoods, billions of dollars just to make sure that married couples can move in and have a home, have a place, be fairly safe. Black people had that when we had our own cities, our own towns. We weren't allowed in the white cities. And guess what? We were prospering. We had our own banks. We took out our own loans. And we paid off the loans to our own people. Everybody wants to assume that black people just can't do stuff. We still are, I believe, the seventh richest nation in the entire world. Black people. The black people that everybody makes fun of. The black people that everybody wants to say are just get away from. Move away from them. Seventh richest nation in the world. Black people. You're not going to see me on TV. You're not going to hear me on the radio. Nobody like me is out there. Candace Owens is a woman, though. But they hate her to the core, right? They can't stand. The black people can't even stand Candace Owens. That's how it is. How many billionaire black people do you know who are not a basketball player or an entertainer? Do you know any? Do you know even one? Did you know that there are black billionaires who don't play basketball, sing, or twerk, or rap, and never have? Funny enough, black people don't get divorced as much as white people, or Latinos. The U.S. economy is built on debt. Consumer debt. If consumers paid off their debt, the U.S. economy would collapse the next day. The dollar would increase in strength by so much they couldn't handle it. Our GDP would skyrocket to even more trillions of dollars. There's a video on here called Why They Keep You Broke. I'm not going to go as far as say that. I'm going to say why they keep you in debt. And they do all sorts of shenanigans with women who are useful to keep you in debt. Even when the woman has nothing to do with you. The U.S. taxpayer is on the hook, and women do not pay taxes like men pay taxes. Nowhere near. So women literally live off of male taxpayers. That's all of them. The married ones and the single ones. You're all footing the bill for some woman to do something, not because she's a woman, but because she's useful to the establishment.